Alright, finding the perfect name using the IGOR naming guide. Uh, for some reason, trying to find a name for a company, it's almost harder, if not harder than that, naming your own kid. The reason why is because you want to find an available domain. And for example, you can call your name Mike, and it's okay. There's a million Mikes in the world. It's okay. Nobody's gonna say, "Hey, you're infringing my name. I'm gonna put you in jail or sue you," and somebody put you in jail. With domains, it's a different story. You cannot. Only one person in the world or a company in the world can own a specific domain, which makes things very difficult. So if you want to find a good name, first you have to find if it's available. But I don't know what goes first, whether you choose the name or if you try to see it's available and then you just pick whatever is available. I think it's better to start with the ideal name you like to have, and then see if it's available. If it is, and if it's not, which most likely it won't, then try to find a variation of the name, maybe not a .com, but a .net or a .li or something like that of that domain that is available. But anyways, let's go on with the IGOR naming guide. I created this, not the actual guide, but I created this Excel sheet so you can apply all the rules and criteria that the guide teaches to find a name that is really cool. Because what makes what the IGOR naming guide answers is what makes a name great, right? And they decided there's about 9 different criteria, and it's the criteria basically is the appearance, whether it's distinctive or not, depth, energy, humanity, positioning, sound, what they call 33, and trademark. And let's just quickly go over what each of these criteria means. So the appearance is simply how the name looks as a visual signifier in a logo, an ad on a billboard. The name will always be seen in context, but it will be seen, so looks are important. So maybe it sounds great, but the actual words put together, they don't look that good. So that's what appearance means. Distinctive, how differentiated is given name from its competition. Being distinctive is not only one element that goes into making a name memorable, but it is a required element, since if a name is not distinct from a sea of similar names, it will not be memorable. It's important when judging distinctiveness to always consider the name in the context of the product it will serve and among the competition it will spar with from the consumer's attention. Well, basically, make sure that your name doesn't sound like, imagine you're doing sodas. Don't call it Coca-Cola instead of Coca-Cola or Nyco, because it's not distinctive enough. It sounds too much like that, and you may even get sued because you're obviously trying to confuse people with the name. Depth, layer upon layer of meaning and association. Names with great depth never reveal all they have to offer all at once, but keep surprising you with new ideas. Some of the best brands in the world, obviously, are Apple and Virgin, for example. Apple is not about apples, but the things that come to your mind when you think of an apple is something healthy, something that it comes from the beginning. Like remember when Eve, she on the garden of Eden. She did something wrong with that apple, right? Anyways, there's many things that you associate to an apple that mostly positive, and these add layers to a name. It's not something very obvious, The same about virgin is something, wow, virgin, it can be applied to sex, it can apply to something that's never been used before. Finding depth on a name is important. Energy, how powerful does it sound? How vital and full of life is the name? Does it have a buzz? Can it carry an ad campaign on its shoulders? It is a force to be reckoned with. These are all aspects of a name's energy level, right? So doesn't sound powerful. It really depends on your brand. Is your brand about being powerful? A lot of things seem common sense, but because there's several of these criteria you have to have into account, when you're thinking of a name real fast, it's hard to put them all in your mind, and that's why I created this chart basically. And then positioning, how relevant the name is to your positioning. to the positioning of the product or company being named, the service offered to the industry served. Further, how many relevant messages does the name map to? Sound, again, while always existing in a context will be heard. How does it sound? Does it sound good? Is it the pronunciation? Maybe it looks very good in the appearance, but it sounds like crap. Maybe it reminds you of a bad word, right? For example, my name Grumo, in Spanish, it's not necessarily a good word. It means clump or lump, and or curd, or the little things that appear in your milk, right? But in English, which is my main market, it doesn't mean anything, and it's a short, easy to remember name, and it's very distinctive, right? Sound, it sounds fine. To me, about the thing about sound is that you want to make sure that people, the first time they hear it, they know how to spell it. And it's very hard to know how to spell things if there's a V's or B's, especially in Spanish, K's, CH. There's certain sounds that are ambiguous, and when you hear them, and they can be written in several different ways, right? Grumo really can, be written, at least in many languages. When you hear it, there's only one way of writing. In English, unfortunately, it doesn't matter almost what you write. It could be written in several ways. But the times I've asked people to write Grumo, they didn't have a problem to spell it most of the time. 33 is an interesting concept. It's kind of like the magic, right? Refers to the mysterious 33 printed on the back of Rolling Rock beer bottles for decades that everybody talks about because nobody's really sure what it means, right? 33 is that certain something that makes people lean forward and want to learn more about that brand and to want to share the brand with others. The 33 angle is different for each name. I think this is a very important factor, and it's hard to describe, but names and what they mean and what people think are so psychological. So picking a name that has that mystery in it, it's very important as well. Trademark is quite straightforward. It's as in the ugly meat, hook reality trademark of it. Scoring is easy. Here there are only 3 options. Well, that's how they use it, but let's just simplify it. Trademark is whether you think it's taken. You can do a little bit of research on the trademark database online, and if it's taken, you're in trouble. Look for something else. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot trademark a name that is trademarked already. If the brand that is that you're using the same name of, for example, Apple, it has a series of what they call uses that it applies to, maybe you can still trademark it. So, for example, if somebody were to use Microsoft to sell, I don't know, peanuts, and it has nothing to do with Microsoft says, so maybe you could trademark it and say, we are not have nothing to do with the Microsoft. It's very hard actually for that to work when the brand is very well known. But for companies that are not very well known and they have an identical trademark, as long as they are not overlapping in services on what they do, and this will take some research from the trademark agents to figure out, and also obviously you have to consult with your lawyer. You may be able to have the same trademark as somebody if there's no overlap. It's very hard, and it's a whole world in itself that I'm not going to cover. But this is how you use this IGOR naming guide. Let's say your name is Grumo. Well, I just added a bunch of different criteria here, and I just scored it, from 0 to 5, right? 0 being the lowest and 5 the largest. When you choose a name, let's say Doodles, I don't know, well, how does that look? It looks okay, Distinctive, it's not that distinctive. 3, depth, not very energy, maybe 4, humanity, maybe 4. This is very, very relative, right? But it's just a way of you being able to figure out if a name is good or not. Positioning, 2, sound, Doodle sounds great. 33, maybe has a lot of magic with it. Trademark, probably it's already trademarked. I don't know. You have to do some research, and then you can keep adding your the names that you would like to have for your website, and then you're obviously going to try to find that on your domain. And anything that is over 40, well, obviously it must be a good name, right? Anyways, I'm going to share the link for this Excel sheet. So if you ever have trouble trying to find a good name for your company or your product, the IGOR naming guide it's going to help you a lot. All right. Thanks for watching.